The following program contains naughty language that may be offensive to some people. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome to the Wrong with a View podcast, a short, brief discussion about video games and other nostalgic things. Welcome to the inaugural Wrong with a View podcast. I'm your host, EMMITT, otherwise known as the Utah Punk. You may know me from my YouTube channel, my Twitch channel. I also have a blog, and I'm a member of the Retroholics Anonymous podcast. So I guess you're kind of wondering, why am I doing my own podcast? Well, I don't really know. I just figured I would talk about shit from time to time and upload it onto YouTube. Why not? That's what people seem to do these days. Well, in this first episode, we're going to be talking about, we're going to be talking about sports games. Yeah, we know. Madden, NHL, Major League Baseball, NBA, NCAA. Oh, the list goes on and on. And the games have been around for decades, and they are not going away anytime soon. I don't know who buys these games, but they're everywhere. I go to used game stores, and I see just stacks and stacks and stacks of these useless fucking sports games. And I don't get it. I like sports, don't get me wrong. I have my favorite teams, and I follow them during the season, and I root for them and hope they win it all. But I don't see the appeal of buying these sports games. When they first came out, yeah, I bought one, maybe two NCAA football games on the PS2 or PS3, I don't remember. And that was fun for a little while, but then they just kept coming. Every single year, you've got Madden 2009, Madden 2010, Madden 2000, and it just, after a while, you just kind of want to go, stop. We get it. Sports games. I mean, from what I understand, even the new titles that are coming out, like this year, especially in like the Madden games, you don't even have to play the games anymore. You decide which two teams you want to see go head to head. You pick the roster, you assign different values and conditions, where you're going to play, the field conditions, the weather conditions, if applicable, and then you essentially sit back and watch the computer play through the game. Is that stupid enough? I mean, why not just watch the actual real games at that point? Record them. Everybody has digital video recorders these days, and if you're a fan of a particular team, record the fucking games and watch them later. I mean, it blows my mind. At this point, we've gotten so lazy that even playing video games has become too much of a chore. So we just want to sit back and watch. That's just fucking sad. I don't get it. And I think, as a matter of fact, in my opinion, sports games are now ruining the used gaming market. I go to I've got a handful of used game stores, retro game stores, here in my area, and every time I go into them, I just see stacks and stacks and stacks of these used fucking sports games, and they're everywhere, and they're selling for $2-3 maybe, and I just wonder who's buying these. Because people who are interested in buying these games are probably going to be wanting to buy the latest version. They're not looking to buy one that's 3 or 4 years old. So the purveyors of these stores probably hate this inventory because it doesn't move. It sits on the shelf. It becomes dead inventory, which is sad because they could be using that space for, good games, other used games. And in fact, I've actually seen one of my favorite local game stores. I was in there one day browsing around, talking to the clerks, and because I'm friends with them all these days, and I was just kind of browsing around, and some guy came in and opened up his backpack and pulled out a couple of sports games, and I actually heard the guy behind the counter go, "Oh, we don't take sports titles." And the guy was like, "What do you mean you don't take sports titles? These are the most popular games in the world." And the guy said, "Why don't you go over there and look on our shelves and tell me if you don't see why I can't take this in?" Needless to say, the guy went over to the PS3 section of used games and looked at the wall and saw that the guy already had multiple copies of various sports titles from multiple years. He then turned around, put the games in his backpack, and just basically left the store without saying another word. That pretty much sums it up. So then what do we do to try to counter this, phenomenon. I mean, you can't stop people from buying video games. You can't stop the people that really do enjoy these new sports titles from buying them. So, you're not going to convince the people that make these games to stop making them, because there's always going to be a demand from, a fairly, or at least a large enough percentage of the population that's out there that they're going to continue to buy those games every time they come out with a brand new one. So you're not going to convince companies like EA Sports to all of a sudden decide that, yeah, we've been there, done that. We're gonna get out of this market now. We're gonna move on to something new. No, you're not going to do that. I don't know if there's any other real way to get around it. I mean, I guess they're just going to continue to be the scourge of the video game market, at least for retro collectors or just video game collectors in general. I mean, seriously, go to a used game store and tell me that the shelves aren't just littered with these sports titles. They're like a cancer. They're everywhere, and they just grow and just occupy valuable space. And it's just, like I said, the purveyors of these stores probably hate these sports titles because they do. They become dead inventory. They can't get rid of them. Giving them to Goodwill may be the only way to do it, but even Goodwill is probably going to reach a point where they go, we can't sell these. We're not selling these. And maybe what you do is you just fucking throw them away. I mean, I know there's probably a big empty space in the desert in New Mexico where they just finished digging out all those old Atari games. There's probably there's some available space down there. They can probably take all of those sports games and go bury them in the fucking desert. Yeah, that's actually an idea. Bury sports games in the desert. And then 30 years from now, we can go and unbury them and see if they're worth anything. Alright. Well, that's going to be it for this initial episode of ROM with a View podcast. So, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to check out my blog. Be sure to check out my YouTube channel. And if you do get a chance, I do stream on Twitch every Monday through Friday, beginning at 7:30 a.m. Mountain Time, which is 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Be sure to join me. It's twitch.tv/UtahPunk. Be sure to join me there. I stream a wide variety of games. Also follow me on Twitter at UtahPunk as well. So, I don't know what's in store for my next episode. I don't even know if there's going to be a next episode. This is my kind of pilot episode. I guess I'm going to have to gauge what you, the listener, thinks of this whole thing. So I guess if you're listening to this and you've enjoyed this and you want to hear more, leave your comments, leave your feedback in the areas below. Let me know what I did well. Let me know what I didn't do well. Maybe what you would like to see in the future. Let me know maybe some ideas for future shows. I am always interested in hearing from people about what I can do to make things better. Anyway, that's going to be it. I'm going to quit rambling now, and we will say adieu and happy gaming. Thank you for listening. This has been the ROM with a View podcast. If you have enjoyed this show, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe.